So welcome everyone to our PTA meeting here for January. As I've mentioned, the chat is open if folks have questions. As we kind of move through this evening, if you have anything anonymous you'd like to have Matthew ask in your place, feel free. And then we have a few things on our agenda. We do have, a few things we need to kind of go through from a PTA perspective. And then we will be having Dr. Henderson and AP Callaway join us, talking about, returning to school and the plans there. And then we have our wonderful MLK planning group here as well, who will share all the events going on. So the first thing on our agenda for this evening, which I can also share with you all so you can see it. Here it is. Can everyone see this okay? Yep. So we will begin just with the passing of our December minutes. So Jeff, are you able to share your screen with those minutes?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful, thank you.
I cannot start sharing until you stop sharing. Oh, there we go. Look at that. A little contingency plan, right? Can everybody see? I'll make it a little bigger.
And then we will need a motion, someone to, make a motion to pass the minutes.
I move we pass those extremely comprehensive and awesome meeting minutes.
Excellent. And then I need someone to second that.
I second the minutes.
Excellent, thank you. So those minutes have passed. And now we will go on just to a few updates quickly. I have Matthew up next just to share a little bit about communication updates on our side.
Yeah, so unless you proactively opted out, you at this point gotten, weekly and then targeted emails using our new directory service and communications platform called A to Z Connect. So we hope that that's working, okay for you all. We're definitely trying to make sure that we communicate timely messages, try not to do it too much. But also one of the nice things is that, for example, today you got a message that had flyers for certain events, which you can check via your email, but then you can also check that by signing into the platform A to Z Connect on your phone or on a web browser. And you can always see those flyers. They're just there in a digital backpack. So it's nice. We put them there, they go out to members, and then you can also go fetch them if you want. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility, and you know where everything is. So we hope you've enjoyed that. The one thing that we'll be rolling out soon with the help of Liz, who oversees the caregiver by grades and class homeroom parents and stuff, we'll be working more to add the individual class, the parents to the system, and it'll allow for for people to communicate to everybody in the class. And then we'll also be creating grade band groups so that anybody can you can communicate to all the third grade families or all the fourth grade families, et cetera, et cetera. So if you are in any of those roles, you will be getting notified and you'll get some instruction. And I'll also be holding like a real-time training session at some point, which we will record because I'm sure not everyone will come. And then you'll be able to see the most exciting YouTube video ever, which is the recording of that meeting where I'm training people. But hopefully it'll help you to just learn how to send a message to everybody in the class and or everybody in the grade level if and when that's something you want to do. so we think it'll be really easy. That way you don't have to like collect emails on your own. It's already collected in the system.
Thank you, Matthew. So I just wanted to talk quickly about 2 events we'll have coming up related to literacy. So one being a scholastic book fair. So obviously we are not able to do any of these things in person these days, unfortunately. So this will be an online book fair. It will begin, I believe, February 4th and then run for 2 weeks online. So I just wanted to let you all know there will be more information to come, probably towards the end of this week about that. And the other is an initiative across the district with all the PTAs that is called Box of Stories. And so the idea here is that we all, you know, kind of like the little libraries, if you've ever seen those in Evanston or other places, it's a similar idea where you can actually sign up and, you know, be someone who might donate some books, or you might be someone who has kind of a container, like a weatherproof container with books in it, and other folks can come and, you know, share or take something new or what have you. So this is something that we will be working on in the next few weeks. So I will give you more information. There's a link to all the different locations already in Evanston in which this is happening. And the idea is that all of the schools are involved. So if there are any folks who are interested in kind of hosting, let's say a bin, you know, here from the King Arts, let me know. You can always give us email at, you know, kingartspta@gmail.com. And then I will get you organized and we can figure that out. So that's that. In the meantime, though, we have next Dr. Henderson and AP Callaway here to talk about, you know, these plans that we have, right, kind of moving forward for the rest of the year. And so we thought it would be great to have them share kind of where we are. And we're just really happy to have you here. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Megan. If it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Perfect.
All right.
That sounds great.
And thank you for allowing us this time during the PTA meeting. We definitely appreciate it. We won't be before you long, but we wanted to honor the need to discuss some updates and recent changes. But before we start, I saw Miss Vega on the line. It is Miss Vega's birthday today. So I'm sure that she has.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. There it is. Woo, woo. Happy birthday, Miss Vega. Hopefully your day was amazing. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started right into it. Just briefly, we're going to talk about return to school updates. Of course, we all got that information just last week about what to begin preparing for. We'll talk about some general housekeeping and save some of our time for question and answers, with the idea that we'll take your questions. And if we have answers right now, we'll give them to you readily. But if we don't, we'll take them down and get the answers to you and post them in the KFM on Friday. And so just while we're doing the brief information about return to schools and our housekeeping, you could just save it for the question and answer portion so that we don't miss those questions, or use the chat if you feel like the question is going to leave, and ensuring we only have 20 minutes for our session. So just ensuring equity of voice. If you feel like you need to schedule a meeting because it's a question that is more personal, please keep in mind that we have office hours on Wednesday from 2 to 3:30. All right, AP Callaway, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see all of you, and Happy New Year, in case I haven't had a chance to say that to you yet. So just some blurbs. So we know that on January 20th, the district will be communicating further as to what next steps are. We were also communicated with that the metrics that the district will be using will be the region metrics and not simply what, because we have so many staff members who are throughout the region. So while the Evanston numbers may look one way, what we really want to focus on is how the region is looking. The walkthroughs and the Let's Get It Right team. So right now, the Let's Get It Right team is a team comprised of a teacher representative of each grade band, along with the school nurse, clerk, and a member of the janitorial staff. And what we've been doing is sort of going through the painstaking details of every part of the day and what that looks like, and getting everyone's perspective and input on it. So at this point, we have completely finalized and hammered down the entry process. And what that means is we took time to go through what that process looks like for every student at every grade level. Like, what door do they come in? What's the protocol for safe entry? Where is their temperature being taken? Who's making sure they have PPE? How are their hands getting sanitized? Where will they wait safely? How will they transition to their destination safely? Who will transition them? So like all these minute details that go into the day-to-day, we have finally sort of just hammered down and hammered through the entry process. We meet again this Thursday we have an outline of what the dismissal looks like, but I realized very quickly that I don't know the building as well as the staff members who have been there. And so bringing them into this process and having them each offer their input and their perspective as that grade level's teacher has helped us really flesh out details to ensure a safe and orderly transition, specifically with entry thus far. On Thursday, we will do that with dismissal. And then following that, we'll do any other movement breaks, including bathroom, we need to go through the tardy policy. We need to go through a crisis policy and just walk through that as a team so that everyone knows what to expect. If on 120 the announcement is that we are reopening, the Let's Get It Right team will have had 4 additional weeks to sort of hammer through each of the details, and we are updating them in our handbook. So our handbook will have all of that information written for everyone, and we're also hoping to be able to do a 1 to 2 minute virtual video tour for the students at each grade band so that so families can see what a day in the life sort of will look like, and what we're anticipating it'll look like. So of course there will be hiccups. Of course, some of that will be a disaster, hopefully not that at some points, but we hope to have as clearly planned as we can every detail possible. That handbook, so let's say the district announces on that, I believe the 20th is a Wednesday. When the district announces, our goal would be to have the handbook and learning pathway confirmation letters to families by the 22nd, which is that Friday. So the district announces on the 20th. By the 22nd, families will all have copies of the finalized handbook. Additionally, they'll have copies of learning pathway confirmation letters from their teacher. At this point, all teachers have access to that information. However, we didn't initially send it out because we were waiting on district guidance. In order to make things as clarified as possible, we will be providing the staff with 2 templated letters. One will say your child's learning path is remote, and this is what they're like, and one will say your child's learning path is in person, and this is what their schedule looks like. So every student will receive one or the other. And that again will be by the 22nd as well.
AP Callaway, what we forgot, transportation, because we had a great meeting last week and we received updates. I believe we were going to receive transportation routes directly from, what's his name again? Yes. We should receive that by early next week. He is responsible for sharing directly with families through SISK-12 what transportation routes and updates are. And so do keep that in mind. It won't come straight from the school, but you will be receiving that soon too. And again, he expressed that this is something that they're still figuring out and hammering out the fine details, especially what happens if a student's temperature is high before they get on the bus and no one's there with them. Like, what happens to that baby, right? So those conversations and updates will be communicated to you via the transportation department, of course, and also you'll get the information and communication about policies from the school as well.
I think it's also worth sharing one other important piece that I felt was really valuable to learn from the district is that the district custodial staff now has access to electrostatic cleaning devices. And so those will be used throughout the day. We'll have a variety of different devices for different purposes, but we will have access to those and they will be used regularly, as custodians will have a time sensitive checklist that they'll have to be completing to ensure that everything is sanitized.
All right, we're going to roll right into housekeeping, some pieces that you may need to know for January and on. So just to give you a little, I'm going to move my box out the way. If you remember or recall, our school year 21 goals are to effectively use data. So by the end of this school year, King Arts will improve student outcomes on MAP and other content assessments, increasing goal attainment by 10%. As you all are aware, prior to winter break, students engaged in the MAP assessment. So we're hoping to hopefully give you that information in the wave of reports. And also finally, a middle of the year, I believe, kind of like state of the school, as PTA and I conversed at the beginning of the year, that having this check-in with families 3 times throughout the year will be beneficial. And so we would like to analyze that as a school community first, be able to identify our celebrations and trends and our concerns, and begin an action plan so that we can provide a clear analysis of where we are with our data to our families. Our second goal, high quality communication and collaboration. By the end of school year 21, King Arts will improve collaborative practices through our teachers and effective leadership through admin, from least to more organized. That measure is on the 5 Essential Survey. I have no information about whether that will be administered this year. It usually, the window opens up about the end of January, early February, and we are almost at mid-January and we haven't heard. So I am unsure how that will be measured if we don't take the 5 essentials. And of course, with our SIT, we can come back to identifying other ways to monitor and measure that metric there. And then finally, our last goal, around MTSS, by the end of trimester 2, which is coming soon, King Arts will develop and implement a clear MTSS process, and 100% of staff can articulate the process. Oh my word, I'm sorry, my computer is struggling. Articulate the process and use the correct intervention strategies at each tier. What I would like to say about this goal is, as we've navigated our way through comprising the MTSS team, we're noticing that some other pieces along the way have to be in place. And so this is a very ambitious goal, and we may find ourselves reevaluating and coming to where we should and could be at the end of trimester 2. So be on the lookout for an update for that one. Right before the winter break, we also work to fine-tune, redevelop, and pen our vision statement. And so we are sharing it whole here, and then you'll see it repeated in multiple communications. Inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., every King Arts student will become a lifelong learner who is an empathetic member of society, committed to social justice, and connected to the world and others, the arts. And what a timely comprised vision as this. And it is our goal and our hope that our goals that we just previewed find their way into our vision, as well as our vision in our goals, and that we are aligning the work to what we expect to see out of King Arts. Important January updates. The first one, so I grew up when tech was developing and the emojis and all of that great. When you see something in caps, can someone unmute? What does that usually mean? Be brave out there.
It's important.
It's important. Well, back in the day, it meant someone was yelling, right? Yelling, read the KFM families. So on Friday, we shared about the supply pickup. And today, right after the reminder, I had about 3 to 4 emails every 10 minutes following that. We didn't know about the supply pickup. So that means that I have a lot of families who are not reading the KFM. And as you know, a weekly communication source is a lot to put together on a weekly basis. And so if that is not serving us as a school community, we need to come back together and determine how we would need communication to be delivered, because the KFM has a lot of important updates information about the supply pickup was it was in that memo. And so I know we get a lot of emails, if not from work, from a lot of places, and it can be difficult to prioritize what you need to read, and which is why we want to keep the KFM as short and succinct as possible, because we know that you all are inundated with a lot to read. So please, I'm asking, begging, please read the KFM, because you'll find updates about what's happening at the school there. As of today, District 65 has reopened, and schools can continue conducting office hours. We have new office hours. It says indicated below, but it's clearly not indicated below on this screen. This week, we are here Monday and we are here Thursday. We are waiting for our official announcement because Mondays will be a cleaning day, and we're hoping that our staff will stay at home so that our custodial staff can engage in deep cleaning, which is going to change. And so we'll post those updated hours in our KFM, but we're waiting to receive that confirmation before we switch it. Right now, you'll see us on Mondays and Thursdays. Tech support woes, please continue to call that hotline. Now that the buildings are open, our tech support will be in the building to provide assistance. Monday, 1/18/21, our building is officially closed for the observance of MLK birthday. And for meal distribution that typically happens, it will not happen on that Monday, but they have rescheduled it for Tuesday, 1/19/21. Megan, where are we at on time? Because I don't want to go over, because we're right at questions and answers.
Can I also say that I really don't think that we need 55 minutes to be able to present our MLK thing. So I would say don't feel pressured with time. If you need a little bit more, I think we're fine.
Okay, thank you. And I'm excited about the information that you'll hear. I'm excited about the activities tomorrow. All school read kicks off. So questions and answers. Megan, if you could give us a 10-minute timer, and then should
Definitely.
we have questions after that, if you can compile them, and then we'll get to the answers.
Absolutely. That sounds great. So what questions do folks have?
Do we have to put them in the chat, or can we just ask?
Sure. You can ask them
You
out
can
loud.
just ask. Feel free.
Oh, okay. So I read the superintendent's letter and have looked at all the guidelines, but what was the specific guideline that caused us to stay remote and not return?
This is the most recent decision, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Yes. So he stated that he was using metrics specific to the Evanston region, but was advised that he was not taking in consideration that many staff and teachers actually come from outside of the Evanston region, and that he needs to look at, are we region 10? Is that a region 9 or 10? I'm region 10. Yes, he should be monitoring the positivity rate. That was one point. And then also the positivity rates change at each phase. And so we are in phase 3, I believe. I'm incorrect. Okay, I'm phase 3. And based on phase 3, you have to be at a 12.5% or lower to return. I think that is what I recall from that information. And he was using the positivity rate for a phase 2 return. We're not in phase 2. Jennifer, I hope I did that justice. If you still have more follow-up questions, now's the time.
Okay, I guess because I've been trying to follow it and it's all hard to follow, but I just don't know how much will change in the next 2 weeks. So I'm curious why he chose 2 weeks from now versus more time from now.
Well, the 2 weeks from now is just to give an update. So let me just say that. The 2 weeks from now is not the opening date. It is to determine whether or not he is going to provide an opening date, or to say we need to wait however long before the next check-in.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, Jennifer. Absolutely.
Got 2 questions in the chat. First one is, how many additional custodial employees have been hired for King Arts?
We don't have a need for additional custodial employees, so none.
Second question is it possible to send out communication related to important messages or time-sensitive materials like the, the pickup today, I guess is what the person's referencing, separate from the weekly letter, the memo, sorry, the KFM?
Yes, it can. If I receive all of the information in a timely fashion, you'll get that information. Absolutely.
I'm out of questions.
Oh,
I have an extremely specific question, but it's related to the JFK, I mean the JFK, MLK stuff later.
for sure. And AP Callaway and I have a reputation of being pretty thorough, and so no, if we've answered all questions at the time, we don't want us to look at each other in the boxes and stare. If you come up with a question, please do not hesitate to shoot us at Megan or directly to us, and we can get the answers to you. All right, Megan, we'll turn it back over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you sharing kind of where we are. I think we're curious. So thanks.
No problem.
So we wanted to really pass this over now to the MLK Planning Committee to share, right, with what we are going to be doing this week and also answer any questions folks might have about all of these wonderful upcoming events. So Amy, are you going to kind of start us off here? Or?
Sure, I'd be happy to start. Do you, can you give me permission to share and I can show off a couple of?
Yeah, I think you should be able to share. See if
Oh, okay. I just didn't try. So I was afraid to try until I knew I had permission. Okay. I'm going to start off just by looking at our, just our school website, and right on, when you first go to our website, there's this lovely flyer here that Jamie Quirchagrosa made, and it has a lot of very, very important points about things that are happening this week, and I'll kind of go through some of those, and I have a video also about the MLK Drive when we get to that I can show. And then I know Randy, the birthday girl, is on and she can chime in to supplement. And I know Ms. Nemo, you're on as well. So anything that you want to supplement with what I'm saying, please feel free to chime in. So our first big thing that is coming up is tomorrow, January 12th. That's our all school read, and it's taking place at 10:40. And I think, Randy, were you going to go into a little bit more detail about that for us?
I sure can, if you'd like. So can I share my thing? Then
I'm going to stop sharing. So
okay, I can share. I got a million things open, so I don't think there are any of the right ones. Okay, so we have an all-school read that will be tomorrow, and so the older classes are going to go into the younger classes rooms. We have like buddy classrooms. The 8th graders are going to read the story. We're going to do an art project today. If people went to the supply pickup, they may have received a packet, and it's this inspirational portrait project, which we're going to work on. It gives directions on the first page. The second page has a blank person. If the children want to make their own, they could do their own. And we have wonderful Matthew Pearson's design from the t-shirt to color in, and even a picture of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So we have a lot of art projects they can do. If you want to go over it with your own children ahead of time, maybe it'll be less confusing because there'll be like a lot of things going on in the classroom, Zoom classroom. But for the most part, I think it's pretty much draw the picture of a person kind of staring out, and the words below go along with the story that's going to be read by students from the older grades. So if there's any questions about that, you can email me or ask me at any time. It's as long as they have anything to draw with, I think they'll be pretty fine.
I was going to ask you that, Ms. Vega, in terms of, is this like crayons, any kind of medium? Are you comfortable if folks are painting? Like, is there something?
Anything they have, that's great. Even if it's a pencil and they want to do shading, as long as they get their point across. And then the drawings, if they have them, and we're doing the drive on the weekend, if they have their houses on the route and they want to put it up in the window, that'd be great. All of those coloring pages might be fun to put up for a while anyway, if people want to see them or put them up in your house, whatever. It's just kind of nice to have, you know, our school represented through art. So
Absolutely. Excellent. Any other questions?
Then I think we'll move on to our next MLK topic that I'd like to talk about, and that is going to be our virtual MLK Assembly. That's one of the highlights of the year, and I think we've been working hard to try to make it a highlight, whether it's virtual or in person. So I think it will be a highlight either way. So this is going to be taking place on Friday, January 15th, and it will be at 12:40. We really want to encourage everybody that's available to tune in as a family and watch it with your students. We're really excited about that all coming together as a school, and everybody that picked up their t-shirt can maybe even don that and be spirited and all parts. We're looking forward to that. The link to it's going to be done in a Zoom webinar, and this is through the district webinar that they have at JEH. So with a license issue, we don't have access to that link until Thursday afternoon. So it will be emailed out to families, and all the teachers will be sharing it too, I believe, with their students and families through that. So that'll all be sent out Thursday afternoon, so everybody can have the link to that 12:40 webinar. The program, I realize we know that not every parent that would like to watch will be able to tune in at that time, but there will be a link that'll be emailed and shared Friday the 15th. It will be available to stream, but it's only for a certain amount of time due to different issues with copyrights and things. So there will be a link that'll be emailed out to families, and you will be able to just watch it via streaming January 15th through the 19th. So there is a deadline on that. You want to make it a weekend priority if you're not able to tune in on Friday, because it will not just be out there indefinitely. So through the 19th is what I'm told. And so you'll be able to view it that way as well. We have all kinds of performances, from dance to music to jazz, and grade levels have been preparing things. Are there other teachers on that want to talk about anything in relation to the Friday program? Did I leave anything out? Does anybody have questions about that aspect of our celebration this week? Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen so that I can point out a couple more things. So there's two more things I definitely want to make sure everybody knows about. One is about our MLK Dream Drive that is happening on Saturday, January 16th. So I am going to play the short video that Ms. Q made for us that is really great at showing what that's going to be like. So I'm going to hit play on that.
The King Arts PTA is hosting MLK's Dream Drive, one of many school-wide events to honor the legacy of our namesake, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You can drive in the event, or you can be a stop on the route where drivers pass by. The drive kicks off at 2 p.m. Of course, you are welcome to walk or wheel the route as you are able. Along the route, you will go by the residences of King Arts families who have signed up to be a part of the route. Those places will be decorated in celebration and honor of our namesake, Dr. King. We invite all the route stops and the cars to decorate, put up posters in the windows, perhaps play recordings of Dr. King's speeches or songs that inspire and engage. The route will also take you by places in Evanston where Dr. King spoke when he visited our community in 1958, 1962, and 1963. When Dr. King visited, he primarily spoke to audiences about fair and equitable housing practices in the North Shore area and the elimination of the racist practices in renting and selling properties that is called redlining. At each of the locations where Dr. King spoke, there will be a site-specific audio story that were narrated by some of our 8th grade students. These locations include the Unitarian Church of Evanston, Beth Emmet, the Free Synagogue, the Orrington Hotel, the First Methodist Church of Evanston. Stops will also include Family Focus, which is the former Foster School building and the building where our school, the Laboratory School, began as a fully and purposefully desegregated educational space. We will also stop at the statue of Gandhi, which sits directly west of our school. At this stop, we will make the connection between the peaceful, nonviolent teachings of Gandhi and of Dr. King. Another stop on the route is the YWCA of Evanston. This year, in keeping with the theme, Injustice Anywhere is a Threat to Justice Everywhere, the King Arts family has a unique opportunity to make a real difference in our community for the children who live at the YWCA Emergency Shelter. The YWCA Evanston North Shore is building a new domestic violence shelter to serve more survivors and their children. Lots of kids will live there, and they will need toys to make it feel like home. King Arts is raising money to purchase sensory toy panels to put in their new children's playroom at the YWCA. Info can be found on the King Arts webpage. The printed and digital maps will have links to these audio pieces. So as you come to these locations, you will hear the history and story of Dr. King's visit to our community. We hope you will join us for this safe and socially distanced activity in celebration and honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as we spread the message of equity, peace, love, freedom, and justice across Evanston and Skokie.
Excellent. So in case you missed the times on there, it is from 2 to 4, but assembling in the King Arts parking lot at 1:30. Am I correct on that, team? Does anybody have anything they want to add about that?
I'm just really excited about it, and I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. And so just for those that were not able to come to the pickup today, we're going to have the banners available for your children to sign that Miss Vega made. They're absolutely amazing. So just please, if you weren't able to come today to have your children sign their names or give a statement on the banner, we ask that you do that on Saturday.
And shout out to Miss Nemo's husband, Jason, who came up with the name for the MLK Dream Drive. That was Jason. That was Jason's brainstorm.
And I'll add too. Well, I'm gonna do the map starting tomorrow for the route. I'm gonna upload everything into Google and trying to add also the places that he visited in Evanston and the links for the audio. And so, if all goes well, we'll email that out probably Thursday. So send it as a text and an email so you have it electronically, and then we'll print it out and have it at the school for the day of.
So we'll have a couple of PTA volunteers kind of helping us kind of guide where everyone will be.
Yes, and I'll send a confirmation of where you go and all that. And I'm just excited. I think this is amazing that the integration of the audio, and it just feels really sophisticated and really amazing. So thank you to the staff who've put this together.
Mm-hmm. I love this collaboration and all of the creativity in our school. It's especially against working towards anti-racism and honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. For sure.
There's one last item that I just want to point out. I'm going to go back to our flyer here, and that is the MLK Service Project. It's also linked on our website, and you can click right in the document. And oh, I timed out here. I thought I was being so clever in preloading it. Let me see if it will let me redo that. And then I don't know that I have, yeah, so it'll take you to this page and you can read more about the service project. I maybe personally don't have a lot of inner working knowledge of all of this. So if anybody on has a little more information and they would like to talk on this topic, please chime in. That would be great. They was mentioned about the toy panels and these things, which just look awesome.
And I think at the bottom of that page is the link to, you press it and you choose your donation level, and any level is appreciated.
Thank you.
Students,
yeah,
also one thing I was going to add this morning, we shared a video that was made by Miss Yandel, so that the students are all aware of the service project as well, and just like showing them the actual sensory board and the things that will be used at the YWCA. Like my class was super, super excited to be part of that. So I think it's pretty great. I know there's another video for a reminder later in the week as well that Miss Yandel is making as well. So super exciting.
Then I'm going to stop sharing. Please let me know, team, if I've left anything out that we should elaborate on, or if anybody has questions about any of our celebration topics this week, or I don't know, you can let us know.
I know there was a question that kind of came up with the PTA, I'm wondering if some of the educators on the call could talk a little bit about, how we kind of frame this for our students, right? And in the celebration piece and holding space for also, the harms and difficulties as well. So I was wondering if maybe that would be something we could talk a little bit about to help the caregivers and what you suggest for framing.
All right, I'm going to ask for a little more clarification of how you're framing this question. So are you saying, how do parents talk to their children about the theme of MLK this year? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. All right, well, I think, if all of us are being just racially and politically aware of the climate that the United States is in right now, there's not one child that doesn't know about really what is going on. So to kind of phrase it in a way of just talking, maybe just about, I don't know, just the inequality of just like why people are treated differently. And then I think that leads to the theme that we have. So you have to talk about race, you have to talk about racism. I understand that it can be an uncomfortable conversation, but at this point in our nation's history and every point in our nation's history, it has not been acceptable to not talk about it. And at this point, we say silence is violence, and you are complicit in racism and biasness and anything that, endangers someone else if you're not willing to talk about these conversations. And we're not really part of a liberal community if you're not willing to talk about these conversations. So just really opening that space up for you to be vulnerable with your children, just in the same way that a lot of us teachers have to be vulnerable with your children about these hard conversations, which they really have been this year. It's been excruciatingly painful to have these conversations just about, the protests that happened over the summer, the lack of justice for a lot of our fallen Black brethren and sisters who aren't getting any justice. And then with the coup that happened, like there's just lots of things that are, you know, stirring up really hard feelings to talk about. But that's also where the theme comes in. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I feel like with this theme, there's always some place where you can go to talk to your children about the inequality and the racism that is taking place, whether it be, you know, with your kindergartner all the way up to your 8th grader. There's definitely a way to talk about it. And though it's nice as the all school read lends itself well to that, because, you know, what personality traits or characteristics did Martin Luther King have that we all need to embody and have to make sure that what's going on never happens again? So there's lots of different ways I think you can approach it, but as long as you're doing that, it's really important that you're just not saying, well, don't worry about it, it's not happening here, because it is happening here, right? And that the parade is definitely going to expose that to these kids. So almost being ready for these conversations to happen. We had the kids in 6th grade read excerpts of the letter from the Birmingham jail and talk about it, just small little paragraphs. What did you notice? What stood out to you? So just even starting that conversation with them and then getting into it the more we go on in the year is just a really good start. But yeah, you gotta have it. You gotta have those conversations. So I appreciate all of you being here, and I'm being a part of the King Arts community and family, and being, helping move the needle forward with this progress. So thank you all.
Thank you for such an incredible answer to that question.
Fully agree. Thank you, Tasha. You always have like very, very wise words of wisdom, which I'm always thankful for. And always being the first one to speak, which always is very helpful also. One thing I was going to add, and I know Jamie Q said this at one of our MLK meetings, was like, what's great about King Arts is like, this conversation doesn't end at the assembly on Friday. This is like, we are approaching a really big season of continuing having these conversations. And I know that like, many of us who are veterans to King Arts or have been at King Arts for a couple of years, that like the assembly is the biggest thing that we do. And it gives those feelings of warm fuzzy, right? Like we see our community, we see how hard these kids work. And Jamie did mention like, this is so different than other years, that there are, yes, we will all have that feeling because we always do at the MLK Assembly. But also know that there are some really heavy topics that kids of many different ages have like delved into. So, just supporting your kids and feelings like Tasha was talking about, and like, what do you notice? I think, and like knowing that we have to have these conversations with, like Tasha said, with our kindergartners all the way up through our 8th graders is so, so important. So yes, that as well.
I have a question from the chat, but also one that I actually have. It's so the opposite in terms of like tenor to the discussion we just had, so I apologize. But a parent was seeking confirmation on, and I guess I didn't know the answer and I felt bad. Who is supposed to get a yard sign, and how does one get one if there are still yard signs? I'm not sure, like just are we trying to go in for everybody at the school or just route stops, or how does that work?
Yeah, what we were thinking, the vision was that it would be for route stops. So anyone who's participating and happens to be, choose, it could be any location, could be where you live or somewhere else. And that would be a sign that you'd put in the ground, right, for that route stop. And so part of, as people signed up over the weekend, we had that information at the supply pickup today. However, I will have many signs that I can have at my place, and folks can come pick them up there if they would like, especially if you want to sign up, let's say tonight is kind of the last time just because of the logistics we have to do around this. So that would be the way. And then I can reach out to all the people who have signed up to make sure they have signs. And if not, we can figure out a way to deliver them to you. So those are the two ways. Thank you for asking that. You know, so the idea is that you can be on the route, right? Or you can be driving in the parade, you know, as well. So, and the idea is that, you know, even being in the cars, you can decorate and do all kinds of things on the car as well.
Really? That is nothing. You know how much I have?
Are there any other questions?
$7 million. And that is nothing.
If there aren't any other questions, we can certainly, you know, finish our meeting early. That's absolutely fine. I'm sure we could all use it. But feel free, if you have any questions, you are welcome to email us at the King Arts PTA Gmail account. And we're really looking forward to this week. Thank you everyone for sharing today. We really appreciate you all being here, and we're really excited about our community and where we're headed. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks, everybody.
All right, take care.
Thank you.